Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And tonight I've got a very special guest joining me for the very first time on this channel. And he is a West Tigers fan as well. And as Caylum is known as the NRL Fanatic on a lot of the social media platforms. It's great to have you on, Callum. It's good to have you on, known as the NRL Fanatic, of course. So almost a similar name to mine. I'm called Warriors NRL Fanatics, but he's called the NRL Fanatic. So hopefully everyone's not getting too confused. But yeah, it's good to have you on. First time on the channel. I know we've wanted to do some collabs for quite some time. You know, we finally got to do this one tonight. But yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I've been trying to connect with you, do some sort of collab for the last 3 years now, but this is the perfect time to do it. Because I started on making a Facebook group, the NRL Fanatics, and that's how I met you, because you joined the group pretty early on, and started your stuff on there. So that's how we met, and since starting my Insta and that, I've been wanting to actually get more collabs in, and especially with you. So now's the perfect time to do it. I'm excited for the game, excited for the preview. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, you know, he's got his own platforms as well. So I'm sure he'll will share it, and do to tell it or shout out all his pages. So but yeah, I do always, when I bring on new guests on this channel, I like to ask them, their background on how they became fans of their team. So Caylum is a Tigers fan, known as the NRL Fanatic. So I like to just, before previewing the game on Sunday, which we will get into real soon, how did you become a Tigers fan, and why? And how long have you been a Tigers fan? Yeah, how long have you been a fan of your team? Did
You were
you?
just buffering a little bit there, but
Oh,
yeah. So I started. I've been a Tigers fan for as long as I can remember, to be honest. I was getting a game since a baby, so literally all my life. Mum and dad aren't even Tigers fans, but because I live in the Campbelltown area, they just kind of made me a Tigers fan, and I've followed them ever since. Um, but yeah, growing up watching Benji, just absolutely covered up. My earliest memories are Benji, just doing what he does, New Zealand legend. Um, and yeah, going to Campbelltown games ever since I was born. Um, and yeah, plenty of bad memories, but quite a few good ones in between. Um, yeah, I've always been Tigers fan, despite all the lows. I've stuck with them. So hopefully our good times are around the corner, but who knows at this point.
yeah, and look, obviously Tigers, they've had a few tough couple of years. It's been well known. You guys haven't made the finals, and I don't want to bring it up, but you guys haven't made the finals in a couple of years now. I think it's 2011. I think it was the last time you guys made the finals, and crazy enough, 2011 was the time when we actually played you guys in the finals.
Yeah,
And that was a semi-final in Sydney. And yeah, I remember
yeah,
remember that game all too fondly because Kristen Inu scored that try. And I know Tigers fans weren't too happy with the try being awarded at the time. I think a lot of Tigers fans saw it and thought it wasn't a try. I think you might have been one of those ones that probably thought it wasn't a try too. But obviously, look, I look as a Warriors fan, I know how Tigers feel. Tigers fans feel, man. We've had a few tough years over the years. We've had some good times in 2000s, and then we had some dark times as well. Um, and now you guys are going through a tough period. Obviously, you had Madge coaching you. You've had Mick Potter. You've had a number of coaching changes
yeah,
at the club, and now you've got Benji, and Benji's first year, very difficult year, first year as a coach for the Tigers there, and now he's in the second season at the Tigers. So, how do you think Benji's going as a coach, man? Look, because I know a lot of people were a bit surprised by the appointment of Benji as a coach, because he hasn't got a lot of experience. As obviously as a player, he's got a lot of experience, but as a coach, he hasn't coached really until now. So. Well, what are your thoughts on how Benji's doing at the Tigers right now as a coach?
Benji kind of got thrown into the deep end. The original plan was like a 5-year plan with him, Robbie Farah, and Tim Sheens. But
Yeah.
Tim Sheens was meant to coach for 2 years, and then Benji would come in that third year. But he comes in a year early. Not really Robbie. Robbie's not really involved anymore. It's mainly just Benji. But I'm loving what Benji's doing. When we were 6 losses on the trot, that's when the Benji not a good coach and shouldn't be the coach chat started to come in. But I disagree. I love Benji as our coach, to be honest. Even if he doesn't have that experience, like the boys just want to play for Benji. That's how we even signed Jerome Luai, Terrell May, Sunya Taruva. They all came because Benji was the coach, and they just want to like learn from him, play under him, and the fact that he gets involved in training as well. I love that Benji's in the club. We're improving with him. He's going to build his squad. The squad itself, over the past few years, we've made some shocking signings, some signings that don't really make sense. We've let go of players, and while we've let go, I still love the way Benji's building his squad. We've got Latu Fainu, so losing Lockie Governs not too big of an issue. Yeah, I love Benji. I'm glad he's our coach, and I want him to stay a lot longer, like long term.
Yeah. And Benji, us Kiwis have a soft spot for Benji because being a New Zealander, and obviously being that man, we have a soft spot for him. So we love to see Benji do well. And I really would love to see the Tigers do well as well because like I think when you got the teams like the Tigers, Dragons, and that doing well, it's good for the competition in the NRL. I personally feel because you generally
Yeah,
feel like always see the same sides like Penrith, Roosters, Melbourne's, all those teams, always in the top 4 every year. You always see the same team. So I personally feel it's always good to have your likes of your Warriors, Dragons, Tigers do well. So yeah, I think I think one. Look, I do feel like the Tigers. Just looking at it, obviously it's I know Tigers fans are impatient at the moment with the past couple of years. It's not been great, but look, I feel like you got some good young talented players coming in to the side, especially the Fanu brothers. And how good they were on the weekend. They were awesome against the Roosters.
yeah,
So yeah, I think the Tigers, they've got real potential. I know they've got real potential. I know some people might say otherwise, but I think they've got the next couple of years. I think Benji. I don't think Benji like. I know there's talk about Benji last couple of weeks, especially last week going into that game against the Roosters, where there was a lot of talk around him. Is he the man for the job? There was all sorts of media scrutiny on Benji. I think Benji came out and had said something about how people were saying the Tigers let go a lot of junior players, and they don't keep them. And what's your take on that? What's your take on the fact that a lot of people say, oh, the Tigers they don't keep their juniors, they don't want to stay around. What's your take on it?
yeah. Like with Lockie Galvin, we gave him the offer to. I think we offered him $1 million a year. And
Yep.
he, I don't even think he looked at the offer. My big problem is Isaac Moses being his player manager. He's also
Oh,
Buller's player manager.
yeah.
Really scary considering my goat, my Pookie, my favorite player. So
Yep.
I'm a little worried about all. I want Buller to stay. But yeah, with like the crop that we're building, like we've got all the Finey brothers, we've got the May brothers, the Lalili brothers, like we've got a full family in our team. And yeah, like the Tristan Hope came up. He's a bit older, but he did a job on the weekend. He was one of our better players against the Roosters. Yeah, like our whole squad now is pretty young, especially compared to the past years where we signed like the likes of Russell Packer, Ben Merlino, who were towards the end of the but yeah, now we've got a lot of a crop players. Terrell May's absolutely killing it. He is by far been one of the top players of the year in the entire comp. Should have played Origin, but we won't go there. But yeah, like the entire squad, they're all young. I think we can lock them in for a while, build around what we've got going, especially Latu Fainu. He's going to be an absolute gun. Buller, hopefully. And yeah, I'm excited for our future. I think we will eventually break this finals drought. In the past, it hasn't looked like it's been close to happening anytime soon. Even though now we're towards the bottom of the ladder, I still think in the next few years we'll finally break that drought.
Yeah, and I want you guys obviously just look at the off season. You guys signed Jerome Law. That was a real big signing for you guys. And yeah, like how's Luai going at the Tigers? How's he going at the moment? Because obviously he's had. I think he's has he? I feel like he's had some good moments for you guys, and obviously it hasn't quite. I feel like he's not quite settled there yet. But how do you feel he's going?
Luai coming to the club. If Luai didn't come to the club, I don't think we get Taruva and Jerome as well. Like
well, exactly.
I know they came for better, but the fact that Luai signed here first, we've got a proven winner with him and his 4-peat at Penn. And his Origin series and all that. Luai coming to the club, the attitude he came like during the off season when he was here, he was going in those interviews talking about how he wants to be here, how he wants to be change in our club. He was looking forward to working with Lockie Gall. He hasn't. I don't think he's been that impressive on field. I've been waiting for that to him to start performing to that standard that I know he can get to. I think once he finally gets time with with Latu Fainu now, they can be a perfect pairing together once they finally get game time together, because Latu's been injured. Latu finally comes back, and then Luai gets injured, but they're back this week together, I'm pretty sure. So I'm excited to see how they connect, and then hopefully their chemistry builds over the next few weeks and we start to get some more wins on the board. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the combo that they can get when they finally start to click.
Yeah, and also I do want to ask this season how the season's going, because look, I know at the moment if you look at the table, it's not great, not ideal. You guys started all right, I saw some promise from the Tigers early on in the season. You've been well in games, well in contests as well. I know you've lost a few close ones, but you've been you're quite competitive, I think, throughout the season. Obviously, we played you guys earlier this year, and we only just got over the top of you guys, only just, in a very close one. But yeah, how do you think you're tracking this season? If you look at obviously results, not quite there, up and down in ways. More be it you've just won last week against the Roosters, which was a very good win. Breaking that 6-game losing streak that you guys had going to it. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on how the team's progressing? Do you think there's been any improvement, Sean, this season?
Yeah, there's definitely been improvement. We started the season, I think, 5-4. Before going into that Storm game, so we're actually a winning record, which is not like the Tigers. I think we might have been in the 8 at that point. But yeah, I was really looking forward to hoping that we might make the 8 this year. We were looking like we were on track for it. And then we played Storm. We got pumped 64-0, and our confidence just went after that. We hadn't won. Like, our win against the Roosters was our first win in over 2 months. So it was a rough 2 months, but I'm also used to the losing streaks over the past 3-4 years. The amount of 7-game, 8-game, 10-game, 12-game losing streaks we had. I think we won 10 out of 63 games at one point. Like it's been rough. But we've already got the same amount of wins this year as we did last year, and last year was our best year since 2021. So it's our best year. We've still got time to get some more wins on the board. Hopefully, it's an improvement year. I was hoping that this year would be the year we make the 8. I don't think it will be anymore. But as long as we see improvement and then hopefully push towards the 8 next year, I'll be a lot happier. But yeah, ever since that 64-0 loss, our confidence has been shot. And then the Lockie Galvin situation that obviously did not help. So hopefully we can stay out of the news, stay out of the headlines. It's not looking like it's happening anymore, like at the moment, because of the Buller situation. But yeah, hopefully I just want a few more wins and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like what what are you gonna take out of this sort of rest of the season? Because obviously you can't. There's not really much you can play for at at the back end of the season. So yeah, you talked about Buller. Do you feel like he's going to hang around? Because it's obviously with the Galvin situation that's been tough as well. There's so much distraction off the field for you guys, and you guys are trying to produce performances each week on the field. But yeah, how do you think this end of the season, these next couple of games, obviously it's all about avoiding the wooden spoon. I feel like it's all about winning, avoiding that wooden spoon for the Tigers. And look, I don't think you guys deserve to finish with the wooden spoon, to be honest. I think there's teams a lot worse that deserve to finish with that spoon, in my opinion. I feel like lots of your Titans and that probably deserve it more. But how confident are you, about avoiding that wooden spoon? Because you guys have got us this week. I think you guys have got the Titans as well over the next couple of weeks. So how confident are you guys that the Tigers won't finish with that spoon? Because I think they won't personally. But how do you feel?
I don't think we'll get the spoon. Our run home is slightly easier. There are some tough games in there, but we've got Titans twice, Cowboys, Warriors, who are top 4, but obviously got some injuries to battle with. So it's probably the best time to face yous, which we'll cover later. Manly, who are on and off, but before the Roosters game, I was really, really worried about the win soon. Because we'd lost 6 and I wasn't sure when our next win was going to come. But the way we played against the Roosters, we played with so much heart. We scored less tries than them, but it felt like we were the better team anyway. That first 39 minutes was like I felt like we were close to perfect defensively. They did score 1 try, but it was the Daniel Tupou try, which I don't know how you meant to stop that. He's 2 meters tall, like he's a catch out of the air and put it down. But besides that, I thought we were perfect. One of our biggest problems this year has been closing out a half. We've probably, I think it's 9 or 10 times this year now that we've let in a try with like a minute or 2 to go in the half. So it's a really bad issue that we have. And we saw it again in the Roosters game. Like it's once every 2 games that we see that we let in a try right before halftime or right before full time. And it'll either cost us the match or like blow any momentum we have going into a half. So hopefully we can snap out of that, because that's been one of the biggest issues this year for us. But yeah, I think we should be able to pick up at least a couple more wins. I can't get my hopes too high, because anytime I've gotten my hopes high, they get shut down immediately. We haven't won 3 in a row in about 5 years. Like 3 in a row shouldn't be too difficult. We've hit 2 in a row 15 different times, and we haven't won that 3rd game in a row since 2020. So even if we're to beat you and then go into versus the Titans to try and hit 3 in a row, Titans coming last, they'll probably find a way to beat us. That's just the story of the Tigers. So I can't get my hopes too high. Once we hit 3 in a row, then maybe I'll start to get a little bit more hope. But I like to keep my expectations low so they don't get crushed.
Yeah, that's fair enough too. Yeah, that's really understandable because it's easy, given the struggles, it's easy to Yeah, well, it's not easy to get your hopes up so high because you don't want crushed. So I truly understand that approach. Really, I do. It's the same when we face a team that's bottom. Like I feel like everyone's saying we should win by 50, 40 points, and I'm like, geez, don't be so sure. Because you just never know. With these teams. So and this year, the competition has been so unpredictable. The NRL as a whole, like. It's so competitive. It's so tight between the top eight. So a couple of losses in a row, you can easily drop out. Of the
Yeah,
top eight. I'm not saying we will drop out of the top eight, but look, anything's possible. You don't write it off. In this competition. A couple of weeks ago, against an understrength Penrith side, a lot of people expected us to win easily, and we didn't do so. I was very wary about it. Like I was
yeah,
very wary that this is a game Penrith could turn up for. With all
yeah,
these players out. So you just never know in this game. We're obviously everyone is expecting us to win this week. We'll get into the game. We'll talk about the game now. So Sunday afternoon at Go Media Announcement Stadium, Warriors taking on the Tigers. Coming off our bye last week, obviously with the news with Luke Medcalf only a couple of weeks ago being ruled out for the season. And obviously tough news in that we're all sitting there digesting as Warriors fans that news. And you guys obviously coming off that win over the Roosters last week, which was a bit of a much relief for the Tigers now breaking that losing streak. But this game on Sunday. So there's 3 games on Sunday at Go Media Announcement Stadium. We've got the New South Wales Cup team playing. We've got the NRLW side playing as well. Good to see the girls back in action. So they're playing, and of course the first grade game in the afternoon. So let's get into it. Tigers Warriors on Sunday afternoon. Look, we'll go through the team list, discuss the team list. Few changes, and notably so, the halves being a big one, and of course the fullback as well. So. Yeah, so I'll go through. We'll go through. Actually, we'll get the NRL Fanatic to go through the Tigers lineup. Give his take on the Tigers lineup, and I'll go through the Warriors lineup afterwards. So yeah, go NRL Fanatic. You got the Tigers lineup on you, so we'll go through the Tigers lineup. If you can hear me, if I'm coming through clearly, not too sure what's going on with my internet.
Okay, so my laptop literally just died, but I turned it back on, so we're good.
All good.
I'll pull the team
No
list up real quick now. Yeah. Okay, so
right.
my laptop died, and I had the team on my screen, but it came straight back on, so we're good. At fullback, can you hear me? Because it just said network loss. Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah,
Are we good?
not too sure. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on with the.
It said network connection loss.
Bloody technical.
Hopefully we're good. But
yeah, all right. Can you hear now?
Okay.
No
back with Karuva on the wings. Charlie Staines and Gerald Skelton. Adam Dewey and Staffator in the centres. Jerome Luai comes back in the halves with Latu Fainu at 7. Front row, Terrell May and Fanua Pole with Api Coruscant also coming back as 9. Samuel Fainu, Tony Suka, and Alex Twal in our back row. And then on the bench, Tristan Hope, Alex Seafarth, Sione Fainu, Jack Bird, and then Heath Mason, Charlie Murray as our 18th and 19th man.
Yep. All right. So the Warriors lineup. Yep. So the Warriors team. All right. So we got fullback Tane Tawapiki on. So he's lining up for Charles Steele Cookstad. He's going to be missing for 4 to 6 weeks, I believe. So yeah, it's bit of a blow there for us. But Tane, he can definitely do the job there. So he's named at fullback. Darwin Zalesniak makes a surprising return. I didn't expect him to be back this quickly because he was supposed to be missing for the next couple of weeks. But he's returning from that injury and he's back on the wing. So Adam Pompey in the centres with Rocco Berry. And then you've got RTS, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wing. 5'8", Chanel Harris, Tavita, and, of course, the big talking point, Tanner Boyd in that halfback spot. replacing Luke Metcalf. So he's lining up for his first game in Warriors colours in that halfback jersey. So James Fisher-Harris, captain at prop, Wade Egan hooker, and Jackson Ford starting at prop, with Leka Halasima in the second row with Marata Niokore, and Aaron Clark is the lock. So our bench reads Tamari Martin, Jacob Laban, Dimitri Varmuanga, and Tanisdale Smith, and then our reserves of Eddie Eromir Tuava, Samuel Healy, Bunty Afoa, Edward Cossey, and Kurt Cable has been named in the reserves. And of course, coach is Andrew Webster. So, what are your thoughts on the Tigers team this week? Any real shock surprises? What do you make of your side this week?
It's always good to have Luai and Appy coming back.
Yep.
Even though we won without them last week, it's definitely like we need them in our squad to have a chance against you guys, I feel like. And then Dewey moves to the centers. I like Dewey in the centers. I just think Dewey in the centers, he I feel like that's his position, his best position. I can see him at 14 in the future, but I feel like center's the best place for him in this squad at the moment. Tristan Hope moving to the bench, and then Jack Bird coming in to the side on the bench instead of Charlie Murray. I like the team list that we've got. It's probably the best we can come up with, to be honest. Yeah, I'm happy with our squad at the moment.
Yep. Yeah. As for the team, for the Warriors, look, I obviously did a predicted side early this week, and a lot of fans, included, were all wanting to see Tane at fullback and Tanner Boyd in the halfback spot, and we've got it. It's great. It's great to see those two line up together. They've lined up in Cup this year, played a few games together. And Tanner Boyd, I know New South Wales Cup is a different competition altogether, and it was the next highest level, but Tanner Boyd's been killing it there. He's really put in a lot of hard work. I think he's been talked up as the most hardest trainer at the club this year. He's the hardest working trainer at the club. His form in the New South Wales Cup has been great. His kicking game is something that the Warriors will really like to utilise, especially his long kicking game and his goal kicking as well. I believe he'll do the goal kicking. My guess is he'll do the goal kicking, or it'd be Pompey, but I think he might be doing the goal kicking on Sunday. But obviously we know, Metcalf is a big blow, but look, I feel like Tanner can definitely do the job. I feel like he's got, the capability to do it. He's played first grade before in the NRL for the Titans. And I think their combination with Harris Tavita, I think it's going to go very well. Now, I will say this, fans don't expect him to be brilliant in the first game he's been in the Warriors jersey, There'll be moments where he might make a mistake, he might kick it out, he might do something. But, we've got to back him in. And it's the same with Tane, he hasn't played first grade in a while at fullback. So, look, I know defensively, there's a lot of talks around Tane defensively, and, he's quite a small player, and that's, look, for me, size doesn't matter, but I know he will be targeted, but I think he'll definitely do a job there. But yeah, look, I think the squad as a whole is a good squad, is what we've named because of injuries. Very happy to see Leka back in that starting lineup. He's been good coming off the bench as well. It's good to see him starting in the side. Capewell, do I expect Capewell to play? I'm going to say no. I think he'll be rested. I don't think he'll come in. I know it all depends on Origin on Wednesday night, which is big. How is he going to, come out from that Origin game? So, look, I'm very happy with the team, very happy with the squad we've named. I think it's the strongest side we've come up with on the field. Obviously, without those injuries with Barnett and Metcalf, but I think it's a very good side for me. But yeah, just going into the comments. So we'll pop into the comments. Jason's just saying here that Tigers will need quick ruck speed, mainly after the first 20, and Warriors will just need to complete these sets of 6. Yeah, absolutely. He also says here, Tigers may have less pressure now, just rebuilding combinations with Farney brothers. May look for another big forward to partner May. So yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts there on that comment there?
Yeah, the Funny Brothers, they've always been clicked. They've always clicked.
Yep.
I've loved when one of them does well. They usually all do very well. There's been
Mm.
times where we've had two of them score a try, but not that third. Leichhardt over last year against Manly, they absolutely killed them. So yeah, but then the Roosters, they all scored last week for the first time. Three brothers have scored in an NRL game, so
Yep.
it was a special moment for them three. I love the finals, all three of them. They're really special. Especially Latu. His future is so bright. His ceiling is so high. So I really rate the finals a lot. And then was there something about Terrell May? We just need to
Yeah.
look for an award. I rate Fanua Poli in the front row as well. I
Mm.
think he's probably one of the quicker forwards, quicker props. Um, and I don't know, like he's just really solid. He does his job very well. He's had quite a good year as well this year. He's just been kind of overshadowed by Terrell May, who's been outstanding. But Pole has done really well this year as well. So yeah, I like both the finals and Fanua Pole. They've just been great this year, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And just what are your thoughts on look? What are your thoughts on the Warriors season? A lot of fans, a lot of fans, Warriors fans, fans of other clubs, might be probably surprised by the way the Warriors have gone about their season so far. I don't know, sitting in the top four. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on it? Being it from an outsider's point of view, what are your thoughts on how the Warriors have been going this season?
I think Warriors have been really great. The
Yeah,
standouts have been Luke Metcalf and Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark has
yeah,
probably been the lock of the year over the likes of Isaiah Otino. I've probably got Aaron Clark as the lock of the year over them. And Metcalf, he was leading the Dally M's at one point, probably one of the favourites going into right before he got injured. So it's really unfortunate he got injured because there was even a world where before Isaiah Katoa was killing it, and when Cleary was in doubt, I was like, what if Luke Metcalf? I wouldn't have minded it for Origin. I think
yeah,
he's really clutch. So I rate Luke Metcalf a lot. So it is unfortunate that he's been injured. But even like Lika Halasima, he's been an absolute gun this year. Wade Egan's been really, really good. So I've liked what the Warriors have been doing this year. And I was all aboard the Up the Wires movement in 2023. I was all aboard it.
yeah,
Then 2024 was a bit of a quieter year, but then you're back into that top four this year. I think you will definitely stay in the top eight for me. Your squad is too good, even without the likes of Mitch Bunnett and Luke Metcalf. I think you probably won't finish higher than fourth. If you can stay in that top four, you should be good. But with the injuries now, it's slightly tougher. I think Tanner Boyd, Jackson Ford as well has been really, really good. He's probably been the best player to come off the bench all year, in my opinion.
yeah,
I've had him multiple team of the weeks. So yeah, I rate the Warriors season this year. There's a few key players that have been standing out for me, but the whole squad has been performing really well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, look, coming into this one, like I've said it, that if we can win our next few games now, I think that's gonna keep us keep us entrenched in that top eight. It's going to be tough to finish in that top four based on these injuries, and I think Tano Boyd can do the job, Kane can do the job, and we can still get a lot of results at the back end of the season. But it's going to be tricky with teams like Brisbane who found form lately. I think they're one of the teams challenging for that top four spot. The Dolphins, even give a shout out to the Dolphins. Um, Penrith, could still potentially make the top four, which is crazy given people ripped them off at the start of the season. They looked gone apparently to a lot of people. I never said they were gone, but there
Yep.
was a few people writing them off. So, teams like that, I think, still challenging for that top 4 spot, but I think the Warriors can win the next few games. And that will go a long way to finishing top 8, and then maybe a couple more wins there, and then it could still finish top 4. I mean, it's not out of the possibility that can finish there. So I'm not ruling it out personally, but if we still make the top 8, I say that if we make the top 8, it's going to be considered a pass mark for the season. Because literally no expectations going into this year. I won't lie. After last year.
Yeah.
But because 2024 was a year of high expectations, but last year actually was a year of high expectations, but it didn't really come off. But yeah, just looking at the lineup. So just looking at the bench. What's your thoughts on your bench? Are you just looking at our bench? Your bench will who do you say's got the better bench? I mean, you guys got some. Obviously, you got Bird, Fainu, Alex Seafarth, and Tristan Hope. Don't know too much about Tristan Hope. You will know a lot more about him, being a Tigers fan. I haven't seen too much of his performances. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on the bench here between the two sides here?
Tristan Hope, he only played his second or third game last week against the Roosters, but he had 41 tackles and no tackles missed. So he has been really good when he has played, especially last week. He is a bit older and got his debut pretty late in his career, but he's always been behind both Appy, obviously, and then Talon Da Silva. But now Talon Da Silva's gone. Tristan Hope is our backup hooker. So I think he will be getting a lot more game time. We usually had Talon Da Silva as our 14, for majority of the year. Even because it was either Talon Da Silva or it was Latu Fainu who was behind Lockie Galvin. But now then it's always just Talon Da Silva when Lockie left. And now I think Tristan Hope's going to take that 14 role for probably the rest of the year. I rate Tristan Hope. He was one of our best players, probably our 4th best player last week. Alex Seafarth, Big Red, he has been pretty good this year as well. Scoring quite a few tries. Sione Fainu, he's been exceptional. Jack Bird, I don't think has been too good, but I don't mind him. I think he is probably the weakest one on our bench. He just doesn't deliver too much impact for me, to be honest. But I don't mind him because sometimes he'll shut me up by doing some good things. As for your bench, I don't know too much about Laban and Stoa Smith. Vaimanga, he's been really good this year, and then Tamari Martin, he's proven that he's been good the last few years since she's returned to the NRL. So yeah, I'm liking our bench for what we've got, considering we've got a couple injuries and players have left. And your bench, Vaimanga and Tamari Martin, are dangerous to me. I don't know too much about Laban or Stoa Smith, though, so you can probably enlighten me on those guys. But I also do think Kurt Capel probably will play, considering it's a Sunday game. If it was a Friday game, not, but the Sunday game, I feel like he might come back into that squad. So what do you think would happen if he comes back in? Who drops out and what moves?
Yeah, so I think if he does end up playing, he will probably play. Who do we got? So we got Tate fullback. Just trying to think here. We got Dallin. Right. Where would you play him? Who drops out? I'm probably gonna say maybe Ford drops out to the bench. Yeah, I think Ford might drop out. Yeah, I think Ford might drop out to the bench if he plays. And
then who drops from the bench?
Maybe Stow Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the way they might go, but this is just a pure pop guess here. So I know, looking at our reserves, none of those players I don't think will get in. To the side except Capewell is probably a chance, but I don't know. That's probably the way it might go. But just based on Capewell not playing, I think they'll stick with that same lineup from kickoff time. So yeah, what about you guys? Do you think there'll be any maybe moves there from the reserves, or Does the way Benji's going? Does he make many changes before kickoff time? Does he usually stick with the
Mm.
same lineup he lines up with?
He usually sticks with the same lineup.
Yep.
Some of the injury scares and not sure if
Mm.
because why he was sort of fit and then didn't play against Manly. We had Heath Mason, but then Luai was fit for Origin. We weren't sure if he was going to play or not, but yeah. So when we know when players are fit and not fit or not, I feel like our team stays the same pretty much every week. From team list day to actually game day. So I don't think it'll change our side.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, just look at some key matchups now. So, what's a matchup you think in particular you're looking at for in this one? Who's a matchup? Obviously, look, I think looking at it, yeah, Luai is definitely going to be key for you guys. And I will say, I'm going to say Luai is probably definitely going to be the key. Yeah. How about you? Who's your key matchup? You're looking for looking out for.
I think the front row for both of our teams are really, really strong.
Yeah.
Fisher and Ford, and then Terome, Appy, and Fanua Pole. I think
Mm.
that they are really, really strong. Going up against each other will be very interesting. Who wins in the middle for this game? I think Latu hopefully turns it on again and performs really well again. I'm interested with the fullbacks, Tuapiki coming into the side, and then Taruva going back at fullback again. He was really good there last week, placing Buller. So I'm excited to see how they perform in this game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and obviously I think the packs, our pack and I think your 4 packs I think it's not too bad considering our pack as well. If you see yeah, so you guys just look at Fanua Pole. I think Ford. I think he up against Ford. Wouldn't he be up against Ford or who would he be up against?
It'll
Yeah,
probably be
he'd be
Fit
up against.
Ole and then Ford and May
Yeah,
because it's
I
normally
think
the
so.
opposite.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the battle of both the props on both sides, I think, will be
Mm.
very interesting. Um, even like the back row, Samuel Afinu and Tony Suka, who's been pretty underrated, probably been our best rookie this year, up against Halasimo, who's been a gun, and Niokore, who's been really good. And then both our 4 packs, I think, are our strongest parts of our side. Um, for both Tigers and Warriors. Um, yeah, the battle of the forwards in this game will be really important.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you? How do you think you guys are gonna go how do you think you're gonna approach this game? Look, I think the Tigers really they're gonna go out there and give it their all. I know there's not really much riding on it. Yes, they obviously want to get a couple more wins to avoid that spoon. But as for the Warriors, I think there's a lot riding on it for the Warriors because they don't want to. Well, they don't want to get 3 straight losses. They don't want to go 3 straight losses. We've just lost 2 in a row leading to the bye. Again, if we lose the next couple of games, it puts the top 4 spot under the bit of threat. Reality is, and look, no disrespect to the Tigers, we really should be winning this game. In my opinion, we should be winning it, and we should be winning it well. But look, I say this, and I feel like with the competition as a whole, no games, are guaranteed. I said a couple of weeks ago, I thought, look, Penrith, I would have thought it was going to be guaranteed, but we really should have won it, but we didn't. So I think the Tigers go into this one, they can throw everything at it. They've got
Yeah,
nothing to lose, to be honest, and the Warriors do have a lot more to lose than in terms of the ladder, in terms of the table. Just look at the back end of the season. The Warriors do have a good run of games. In all due respect, it is a soft run home. Other than the Dogs and the Dolphins, I think will be the most trickiest games, to be honest. Yeah. So how do you think your boys are going to approach it? on
Um,
Sunday. You know, how do you think you're going to go?
I think it depends how we come out and play because
Mm,
if going off of our form going from last week, if we play like that, I think we're a real chance. But if we aren't playing like last week and we just play like how the Tigers can usually play, then it's a real issue.
yeah,
Um, I think like especially now that Metcalf is out, it gives us a slight advantage compared to what it could have been. But then again, Tanner Boyd has been killing it, so we'll see if he comes into the starting side and kills it. Continues his form in New South Wales Cup, but yeah, I can never really predict the Tigers game. Like we could come out and kill it, or we could come out and be absolutely atrocious. So we'll find out. But I don't want to get my hopes too high, especially considering reversing a top 4 team. So I think Warriors will probably win this game. But obviously, hopefully, Tigers get the win. But I don't know. I don't think so.
yeah, yeah. I think look, you know, we need to win this game. You know, I feel like it's a game we got to win. You know, we must bounce back. Tanner Boyd coming in, you know, Tanner Boyd and Tane to a pick. I'm really excited to see how they both go. Back in first grade. Tane's been in first grade. You know, I've seen him play a few games this year. He's been on the wing, and he's back at his preferred position at fullback. And Tanner, obviously, this is his first outing in the Warriors jersey this year in first grade as a whole. So, yeah, really excited to see how it goes as a combination. And I will say, you know, don't expect him to be brilliant the first game in the jersey. You know, just we've got to be patient, and you know, if he's brilliant, that's great. If he's not brilliant, then if he's doing his job, then it's even as long as he's doing his job. You know, if he comes in and does his job very well. You know, that's all we are. That's all we want to see as fans. So, um, yeah, prediction wise, how do you think this game's? What you just said that you actually gave it away there? You're going to actually tip the Warriors here. So you're basically going with your head more than your heart there. I know you want the Tigers to win, but how much do you think the scoreline's going to be? Do you think it's going to be a big score, or do you think it's going to be a competitive match? How do you think it's going to go?
I think, yeah, I think it'll be a bit high scoring.
Yep.
Our 58 points, so it was definitely high scoring. I
Ooh.
think I think the problem is like my tips. I started the year so strong in my tips. Like I was getting
Yeah.
like I was killing it. I was top of the comp. Now I've gotten multiple wrong every week. So I've fallen from first in the rankings to like mid table now. So the season's very unpredictable. So anyway, we could pull off an upset, but I'm tipping Warriors to win this game. If I had to say a score prediction, I would say Warriors to win 20 22 to 18. I feel like it'll be close because Tigers, we stay in the fight. We haven't really, like, since the 64-0 loss, our biggest loss was the Manly game we didn't really show up for, but that
Mm,
was only points. So we haven't really been thumped since the Warriors game, since the Storm game, sorry. So I feel like it will be a close game. I'm going to say 22 to 18 to the Warriors.
yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say. Unfortunately for you guys, I'm going to have to say it'll be. I think it'll be a big score. I haven't tipped Warriors 13 plus this year. And look, there's a reason why I'm being a little. I've always been quite conservative this season. You know, even when we've looked great. But like I felt like we've not. Where we've won, obviously they've been very close margins, very tight margins. Albeit the Sharks game where we absolutely towed up the Sharks. So, I'm probably going to say it'll be 13 plus, unfortunately for you guys. But I will say the Tigers will score some points. Yeah, they'll score some points. It's not going to be completely, embarrassing in terms of scoreline, but I think it'll be a big score. So I'm going to go Warriors to win, 36 points to the Tigers 20. 36-20. And first try scorer. We'll go give us a try scorer prediction here. So I will say first try scorer. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say Roger.
Roger.
I'm gonna go Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, first try scorer.
I'm
What
gonna
about
go.
you?
I'm gonna assume that we might come out strong, just to like slowly, because we usually come out strong in games.
Yeah.
Or we come out weak and then pull off some comeback and just fall short. But I feel like we might come out strong going into this game. I'm gonna say Stafford Tower to score the first try.
Ooh, not bad. I like it. I really do. Adam's saying here, Hallasima first try scorer. Oh, that's not a bad bet actually. Hallasima's been quite a try scoring forward this year. Actually, he's got a few tries this year. Actually, he's done pretty well. And he's going with a 50-28 Warriors win.
Yeah.
And for anytime try scorer, I'm gonna say. Oh, I'm just trying to think. Tigers try scorer. I'm gonna go. I might say. I'll go Sunia Taruva. I'm gonna go Sunia Taruva any time try scorer, and for the Warriors any time I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go DWZ. Darling Watini Zelezniak. Yep.
For my time, I think I'll go. I reckon Jerome Luai might score. I think he might actually have a decent game going into this Warriors. So I'll go Luai for the Tigers, and for the Warriors, I will go. I'll go Jackson Ford. I'll go with a roughie, Jackson Ford. I think he'll cross over.
Not bad. I like it. Yes. Yeah, well, there we go. So, Jason's going here. I'll pick Dallin. He's got Dallin anytime try score. Not bad. Like it. Luai sets up tries too. Warriors fans. Warriors definitely got to watch out for Jerome Luai. I know he's had some big performances when he was playing for Penrith against the Warriors in the past. So, yeah, we're definitely got to be wary of Luai when if he has a big game. Man, it's a bit of a worry for us, So, I think that's a player that we need to be wary of come Sunday. And it's like I said a couple of weeks ago with Adam Reynolds against the Broncos. Yeah, he was the key to Broncos getting up over the Warriors a couple of weeks ago when I was at Suncorp watching that game. Boy, his kicking out was just class, pure class. So yeah, we're going to wrap it up now, guys. So yeah, I'd just like to thank Caylum, the NRL Fanatic, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you giving your time up to come on and preview this game. And yeah, good luck to the Tigers for the rest of the season, like I say there. And yeah, may the best team win on Sunday. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Hopefully Tigers can perform well for the rest of the year. Fingers crossed. It's been a pleasure doing this preview. It's my first long form collab. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to the Warriors NRL Fanatics, definitely subscribe because he absolutely kills it with his content. Yeah, that's it for this preview. Thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. No worries. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, thanks to all the viewers for tuning in and watching. And make sure you do like the live stream. Make sure you click the thumbs up button. Or if you're watching it back, please do that. Make sure you like the live stream because it all helps the channel, pushes the content out to more people. And don't forget to share, subscribe, do all the following. We're trying to get to that 3K subscriber mark. I believe we're not far away from that 3K subscriber mark. So yeah, help us to get there real soon. And like I say, go and check out the NRL Fanatic on his platforms. I believe you're on YouTube, Instagram. You guys have got you got a Facebook group as well, I believe. So you can find him there. And I think that's all the platforms. I'm pretty sure, is it? Am I missing any more? Or is that it?
Facebook group, NRL Fanatics, yep. YouTube. Been struggling with the uploads on YouTube, not gonna lie, but Insta and TikTok are our main two platforms. TikTok and Insta, just the NRL Fanatics, you'll find them. There's plenty of content I've got coming up the next few weeks. State of Origin, Rugby League 26, the new video game coming out. I'm going to go to Paul Gallen versus Sonny Bill Williams fight. I'm touring touring the Tigers Centre of Excellence because I've now been a member for over 10 years. So you get to tour the when you hit 10 years. Got a lot of content coming up, so go check out, especially the Insta and the TikTok. Yeah, thanks for the plug.
No worries. Yeah, well, I'm sure this won't be the last time we've collabed together. I'm sure we'll do something in the, we'll definitely tee up something in the future, or whatever we can sort out something. Yeah. So yeah, thanks again for coming on. Yeah, like I said, like, share, and subscribe, guys. We're going to get on out of here. Enjoy Origin Wednesday night as well, and yeah, up the Wars. Go the Warriors on Sunday. Cheers.
They're the Blues. New South Wales.